June 17, 2017. 1:30 a.m. The Philippine Sea. A 9,000-ton American warship, bristling with the most advanced radar and sensor systems in the world, is about to be torn open like a tin can. 7 sailors will die in their sleep as seawater floods their berthing compartments. The captain will be trapped in his destroyed cabin, suffering severe head trauma. And the question that will haunt the Navy for years: how did a vessel designed to detect threats hundreds of miles away never see a massive container ship until it was too late? This is the story of the USS Fitzgerald disaster. Welcome to Naval Files, where we dive deep into the most significant naval incidents, operations, and maritime mysteries in history. Today, we're investigating one of the most devastating peacetime disasters in modern U.S. Navy history: the collision between the guided missile destroyer USS Fitzgerald and the Philippine-flagged container ship ACX Crystal. What happened that night exposed systemic failures that would shock the entire naval community. Let's begin. The USS Fitzgerald, designated DDG-62, was an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, one of the most capable warships ever built. Commissioned in 1995, she was named after Lieutenant William Charles Fitzgerald, who received the Silver Star posthumously for his heroism during the Vietnam War. Displacing over 9,000 tons and stretching 505 feet in length, the Fitzgerald was equipped with the Aegis Combat System, a naval weapon system capable of simultaneously tracking and engaging more than 100 targets. Her home port was Yokosuka, Japan, and she operated as part of Destroyer Squadron 15 under the U.S. 7th Fleet. By June 2017, Fitzgerald had been continuously deployed in the Western Pacific, conducting ballistic missile defense operations and freedom of navigation patrols. But on that fateful night, all her advanced technology would prove useless against a failure far more fundamental. June 17, 2017. The waters off the coast of Japan, the Philippine Sea. The conditions were perfect: clear weather, good visibility. The USS Fitzgerald was cruising at 20 knots on a heading of 190 degrees true, nearly due south. On the bridge, the officer of the deck was Lieutenant Sarah Kopic, responsible for the ship's course and maneuvering. The evening watch was routine. But somewhere in the darkness, a massive container ship was approaching. The ACX Crystal, a 29,000-ton Philippine-flagged vessel operated by Japan's NYK Line, was on her way to Tokyo, her autopilot engaged, her crew unaware of the destroyer in their path. At 1:17 a.m., Lieutenant Kopic misjudged the course of the ACX Crystal. This single error would set in motion a catastrophic chain of events. By 1:25 a.m., just 8 minutes before impact, Kopic noticed the container ship getting dangerously close. She ordered a turn to 240 degrees true, a right turn that would take Fitzgerald behind the Crystal. But then, she rescinded the order. Instead, she made a critical decision. She ordered an increase to full speed and a rapid turn to port, to the left, attempting to pass ahead of the ACX Crystal. But here's where everything fell apart: these orders were not carried out. The bridge team failed to execute. Precious seconds ticked away. At 1:29 a.m., just 1 minute before collision, the bosun mate of the watch, a more senior supervisor, took over the helm and began executing orders. But it was too late. At 1:30 a.m. and 34 seconds, the ACX Crystal's massive bulbous bow, designed to cut through water efficiently, punched through the Fitzgerald's starboard side like a battering ram. The container ship's bow penetrated deep into the destroyer's hull, below the waterline, tearing open a massive gash near the keel. Seawater immediately began flooding 3 critical spaces: a machinery room, the radio room, and 2 crew berthing compartments where sailors were sleeping. The captain's cabin was completely destroyed. Commander Bryce Benson suffered severe head trauma and was trapped in the wreckage. In the berthing compartments, 7 sailors never had a chance. The water came too fast, too violently. They died in their sleep as the ocean claimed the spaces where they rested. Their names deserve to be remembered: Gunner's Mate Seaman Dakota Kyle Rigsby, 19 years old. Yeoman 3rd Class Shingo Alexander Douglas, 25. Sonar Technician 3rd Class Nok T. Truong Huynh, 25. Gunner's Mate 2nd Class No Hernandez, 26. Personnel Specialist 1st Class Xavier Alec Martin, 24. Fire Controlman 2nd Class Carlos Victor Ganzan Sibayan, 23. Fire Controlman 1st Class Gary Leo Rem Jr. 37. 3 other sailors were injured. But amidst the chaos, the crew of the Fitzgerald began fighting for their ship's survival. The damage control teams worked through the night, shoring up bulkheads, pumping water, doing everything humanly possible to keep their ship afloat. According to Vice Admiral Joseph O'Coin, commander of the 7th Fleet, their hours of damage control kept the ship from sinking. The executive officer assumed command as the destroyer, escorted by tugboats, the USS Dewey, and the Japanese Coast Guard, limped back toward Yokosuka. Commander Benson and another injured sailor were evacuated by helicopter. The other injured crew members were taken off by U.S. military helicopters. The Fitzgerald survived the night. But 7 families would never be whole again. In the immediate aftermath, confusion reigned. One of the first mysteries: when exactly did the collision occur? The U.S. Navy initially reported the incident happened at 2:20 a.m., nearly an hour after the actual collision. The Japan Coast Guard and NYK Line, after reviewing automatic identification system data from the ACX Crystal, determined the collision occurred at approximately 1:30 a.m. This was when the container ship made a sudden turn, visible in the AIS tracking data. U.S. Navy ships frequently disable their AIS transponders to maintain operational security, which explained why Fitzgerald wasn't visible on commercial tracking systems. But this practice would later raise questions about situational awareness. The discrepancy in timing sparked speculation. Why did it take the Navy so long to report what happened? What occurred on the bridge in that missing hour? The Navy declined to comment, saying all aspects were under investigation. Even stranger, after hitting the Fitzgerald, the ACX Crystal continued on her original course for 30 minutes before returning to the collision site. Then, after surveying the scene, she resumed her journey toward Tokyo. The captain of the Crystal later claimed, in a report to the ship's owners, that Fitzgerald continued sailing on a collision course despite the Crystal signaling with flashing lights to warn of imminent danger. The U.S. Navy did not comment on this claim. Investigators faced a troubling question: how did a destroyer equipped with multiple radar systems, lookouts, and sophisticated sensors fail to detect a massive container ship in time to avoid disaster? And why didn't the crew respond effectively when they finally did see it? Multiple investigations were launched immediately. The U.S. Navy, U.S. Coast Guard, Japan Coast Guard, Japan Transport Safety Board, and the ship's insurers all began examining what went wrong. The Navy's internal inquiry was led by Rear Admiral Brian Fort. What they discovered was damning. The preliminary findings pointed to multiple errors by Fitzgerald's crew and a complete failure to take action in the minutes leading up to collision. Most critically, physical lookout duties were not being performed on the starboard side, the right side of the ship, where the ACX Crystal and 2 other vessels were approaching. Think about that. On a warship at sea at night, no one was physically watching the direction from which danger was coming. But the failures went deeper. During court proceedings in May 2018, a shocking revelation emerged: the radar aboard the Fitzgerald was not functioning properly at the time of the collision.